Hello everyone, welcome to Swiflearn, India's most sincere learning destination for classes 1 to 10. My name is Jagrat and here I am with the second video of the ongoing series Central Tendency for class 10th, ICSE and CBSE. For those of you who are new to this channel, Swiflearn provides 100% live interactive classes. Personalized attention is given to every student with having a maximum limit of 6 students per batch, a dedicated acad mentor team that tracks your progress, and here we cover all the syllabus based on the latest pattern of ICSE and CBSE. Some of the additional key features are: we provide you with a detailed progress report of your journey at Swiflearn. We have SATs so that you can test yourself at national level. We have unlimited practice series so that you can work on yourself, and subjective tests just like your school exam so that you can have feedback regarding your answer writing skills. For those of you who have not already liked, subscribed and pressed the bell notification, please do that so that you never miss in future update. So guys, thank you very much for all your views and your comments on my previous videos. That really helps me to keep going. And here I am with the second video of Central Tendency. Okay, in this video we are going to study about the grouped data. The grouped data is like 10 to 20, 20 to 30, the continuous data that we have. So we are going to discuss all the three methods: direct method, shortcut method and step deviation method for all of these things. And guys, please sit with your pen and paper with you because today's class is going to be about questions and questions only. So there is no point of just seeing the solutions just right away. Whenever the question pops up, pause the video, try to do the question yourself and then look at the answer. That will be really helpful for you as per my suggestion and my understanding, but it's completely your choice. Okay, so moving on. So I already explained you guys where the central tendency data are used, okay, to calculate different stats in different departments. Okay, in factories also the mean benefits of the workers are calculated according to that only. Like a factory is giving overtime amount. Okay, so sometimes the a worker is doing an overtime of 3 hours, sometimes he is doing of 2 hours. So particularly calculating the overtime for whole month will be hectic work for a company's from the company's end. So beside that, the company can do, he can calculate the mean of all the overtimes and just give them the amount regarding with that mean. Okay, the ratings as well. So sometimes in the, like for example, Zomato's we rate Zomato's, like every individual customer is rating Zomato at their own, as per their own understanding. But at the Google Play Store we see the average rating. Most of the things that are calculated in the average form. Okay, I think it is quite clear that where the central tendency concepts are used in the real life. Okay, so today we are going to study about the grouped data and we are starting with direct method. Okay, direct method, let us divide it a little bit. Okay, so suppose x1, x2 and x till xn are your observations. Okay, and the frequencies are like x1 is having the f1 frequency and x2 is having the f2 frequency and simultaneously. So first step was multiplying both the numbers x1 and f1. So x1 into f1 will give you f1 x1, x2 into f2 will give you f2 x2, and similarly all the other numbers will proceed, and after that you will add all the frequencies. And x bar, I told you in the previous slide, x bar represents the mean. So this is how your eventual formula will look like. Okay, but and like this, writing this whole formula sometimes like it's quite lengthy, so we just write summation fx and summation f. In previous slide also I told you that don't be afraid of this sign. This sign just represent the sigma, so that I added in this slide so that you guys can understand it. Sigma is just represent the summation. Instead of writing sum of all fx, we just write summation fx. Okay, so let's start a question. So guys, please stop the video, first try to do the question yourself and then come for the solution. Okay, it will hardly take you 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so please pause the video, go for the solution yourself and then come back and check the solution. Okay, so a marks of 30 student of class 10th, so total f is 30. Mathematic papers consisting of 100 marks are represented below. Okay, so these are the students who have scored 10 marks is 1, 20 marks is 1, 36 marks 3 students have scored, 40 students have scored 4 marks, 95 marks was scored by 1 student, and maximum marks like between 60 and 70 were scored by 4 and 4 students individually. So what we will do, we will make 2 columns. Okay, so in today's slides the things are in horizontal manner. Don't worry, in your classwork copy you will do it in vertical manner only. Okay, so don't worry about that. So first step was multiplying these two. So 10, 20, 108. We are multiplying these two numbers, okay beta? 36 multiplied by 3, 40 multiplied by 4, 50 multiplied by 3. This is how we are getting these numbers. Because this is fx, right? Now adding all the numbers. This 10, 20, 108, 106, 160, 150, 110. By adding all of them, you will get 1779. This is what you are getting after adding all of these numbers. Now summation of f was 30 because it was quite clear that 30 students were there in the class. After solving, you will get 59.3. Okay, so this was the solution for a ungrouped data. Okay, but in real life mostly we are having grouped data. Okay, so we are now moving on to that, like how a grouped data looks like and how would we use a step deviation method for the grouped data. So in a grouped data, you will have a upper class and a lower class limit like this. Okay, so the class interval, like 4 students who are having 40 marks are between 40 and 55. So students those are having 40 marks will be covered in 40 to 55 class interval, not in 25 to 40. Okay, so students who have obtained 40 marks would be considered in the class interval 40 to 45, not in 20 to 50. जो बड़ा वाला होता है उसमें कंसिडर करा जाता है. Okay, so let's form the frequency table. ये आपकी frequency table है. 10 से 25 मार्क्स लाने वाले 2 स्टूडेंट हैं. 25 to 40 marks are scored by 3 students. 40 to 55 marks are scored by 7 students. 55 to 70 marks are scored by 6, and similarly so on. So what will be the first step? First step will be better to find out the midpoint of this, because we need a x to multiply this frequency from. So how we are going to find that x? We will just add the upper limit and lower limit and divide it by 2. Not this 2. This is the 2 of the formula. Okay. For 25 and 40, we are also going to divide it by 2 only. So you will get like this. The first x is 17.5. And second x, 25 plus 40 will be 65. 65 divided by 2 will be 32.5. 40 and this will be 95, I think. So this will, you will get. Okay. Similarly, you will get your class marks, that is x. Now you will multiply these two. 2 into 17.5. This will be 35.5. 3 into 32.5. This will be 97.5. अब जिसने मेरी क्लास पिछली पढ़ी थी और जिसने वीडियो पॉज करी होगी उसको याद होगा ये वाला डायरेक्ट मेथड के अलावा अज्यूम मीन से करने में ज़्यादा बेनिफिट हम लोगों को पड़ेगा कि नहीं पड़ेगा, क्योंकि यहाँ पर देखो कितने बड़े बड़े नंबर्स आ रहे हैं. द नंबर्स आर बिग हियर बेटा, राइट? सो वी विल लाइक दोज ऑफ यू हु पॉज द वीडियो एंड सॉल्व द क्वेश्चन and remember that this x is bigger and we need to go for the shortcut method. Kudos for you beta. This was the concept that you need to understand. It is not a rectification kind of thing. It's your understanding. See, the x are so big. Okay, so okay, right now the question said do it with the direct method, but if you had a choice, the most suitable method would be the assume mean method. Okay, so moving on, coming back to the question. So those of you are doing with me, so sum of all the x's we have calculated, sum of all the fx we have calculated. Okay, and then we just need to divide summation fx upon summation f. So 1860 divided by 30 will give you the 60. This is the new method of finding the direct mean. This is not the new method. You can say that method which involves class intervals, which involves grouped data 10 to 25 similarly. Okay, so how you will get this? I'm explaining it again. Adding the upper limit and the lower limit, dividing by 2, you will get all your x's. So let us visualize what we have studied. Okay, be careful and listen very carefully. Okay, let me share the sound.
Video, give it a thumbs up.
In this video, we are going to look at how we can find the mean from data in a table. A mean is commonly associated with the term average and is found by dividing the sum total of values by the number of values themselves. The easiest mean questions involve simply adding given data and dividing by the total, such as this question here. Finding the mean from a frequency table takes a little more consideration in finding the mean from a basic list of data. Consider this frequency table, showing the data for points scored in a game. By understanding that the frequency says that score 1 occurred 2 times, score 2 occurred 5 times, etc., we can imagine the data forming a list like this. We can then simply add and divide by the number of values. However, this method will become too time-consuming with larger quantities, so we can add 2 additional parts to our initial frequency table. The first addition is a column to the right, which we label fx. Fx stands for the frequency f multiplied by the value x, in this case points scored. By adding this, we are speeding up the process of collecting values. The second addition is a total column. We still require the total points scored divided by the total count to find the mean, and having these columns helps us to keep track of this. Have a look at this frequency table showing the number of pets people have. We have included the fx and total columns for you. Pause the video and have a go calculating the mean. Let's see how you did. To find the fx values, we need to multiply our number of pets, x, by the frequency, f. That should give you these values. We can then complete our totals. We can then divide the total pets by total frequency, in this case, the people in the survey, to get the mean value, 1.95. You may also need to be able to find the mean of data from frequency tables which look like this. This data shows the lengths of carats to the nearest millimeter. As you can see, this data has no specific value. It is group data, shown in intervals. We cannot calculate an exact mean value from this. Any mean we calculate will therefore be an estimate. To calculate the mean of group data, the first step is to add the fx column, the totals, and an additional column labeled midpoint. We then determine the midpoint of each interval or class. We then treat these midpoints as x and multiply them by their given frequency. The sum of the products are then divided by the total number of the values, will be an estimated value of the mean. Pause here and see if you can figure out the mean. Let's see how you got on. Firstly, let's put in the midpoints. We can find these by adding the 2 limiting values together and dividing by 2. So the first midpoint is 147. We then calculate fx by multiplying the frequency by its midpoint. The sum of fx is the total lengths of the carats, if they were placed end to end. To find the mean length, we need to divide the sum by the total number of carats, the frequency. This gives us a mean carat length, 166.78 millimeters, rounded to 2 decimal places. One final thing for us to consider is that the intervals from group data may also look like an inequality, like this.
So guys, I hope आप लोगों को वीडियो समझ में आया होगा. Okay, so this video, like why the visualization is needed, because those of you who are not sitting with a pen and paper might not know that how we will do it, proceed in the copy. So this is the visualization gives you an idea that how to start the question. Okay, how you will form the columns and what will come in the each column. Okay, so this is why this method is used. Okay, let us understand one more question. Okay, so these things will just let us see. Okay, so suppose this is the question, 10 to 25, 20 to 36, and these are the class intervals and these are the frequency. So what will be the first step? So first step will be forming the table, 1 2 3 4 columns. So first table will include your class interval, then all the class interval will come one below the other. Okay, after that the total. Okay, the total column. Now frequency will be noted down. After this we will find x. How we will find x? 10 plus 20 divided by 2. So 10, 10, plus 20, that is 30. 30 divided by 2, 15. So you will get a 15. 20 plus 30 divided by 2, you will get a 25. And 30 plus 40, you will get a 35. And similarly, see 10 gap hai na? So you can just move on now for 35, 45, 55, 65. Okay, no need to calculate the rest. Now multiplying them, 55 into 5, 45, 75, 150, and these like this you will come and adding them. Now what all we need to do is divide these two. 910 divided by 26, this will give you your mean, that is 35. Is it clear, beta? If that is clear, please leave a like and a comment so that I can know that everything was clear to you guys. Okay, please do leave them, because that's really important for us. For that only we can know that you are studying and you are working really hard on yourself, and we can also work hard with you. Okay, so please leave your valuable feedbacks on the comments in the form of likes. So now moving on to the shortcut method. Okay, so assume mean this time we will use. Okay, this time, and I already told you, don't, if the question doesn't specifies that assume mean, shortcut method or step deviation method, work according to your understanding. If the x that are coming up are bigger, go for the shortcut method. If after that also, after like making the x shorter, then also you are facing a problem, the numbers are still bigger, go for the step deviation method. Like one more column will be added and a common number which is in the x will be divided from all of them. Okay, so you will study that in detail in the coming up videos for those of you who don't understand. Okay, so let's take, like, this was the question in the previous slides also. See, the numbers are bigger here, right? So that's why we will take an assume mean. How to take an assume mean? क्या बताया था मैंने last slide में कि assume mean लेते कैसे हैं? Count करो, 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 है ना, तो बीच के दो 47.5 and 62.5. Any two of them can be your assumed mean. So we are going with 47.5. You can go with 62.5 as well. It's completely up to your understanding. So now you will subtract this 47.5 from all the x's that are there. So 17.5 subtracted from 47.5, and this will come down. So this is how your new table will look like. So 47.5 subtracted 17.5. 47 see, remember x comes in the front. Okay, you will be getting minus digits before the numbers. Before this number arrives, you will be getting minus digits only. Now you can multiply 2 into 30 60, 3 into 15 45, oops, 3 into 15 45, 7 into 0 0, 6 into 15 90, and now add them and divide them. But since you subtracted this number from each of the number, so after dividing, so one more thing is added to the formula, that is add the assumed mean. So 47.5 will be added after the division. 435 divided by 30. So you will get 14.5 and then add them. This will give you 62, your final answer. Now moving on to the new method, that is the step deviation method. Okay, if you are getting, after subtracting assumed mean also, you are getting a bigger numbers and you want much smaller numbers from them, so that time you can use step deviation method. Here you will get an I. I is known as class size, upper class minus lower class. This will I is known as class size, and then you can divide it with all of the numbers. Okay, now let's see how it really works out. So this is your question. So the first two columns always same, third column always same. 80 plus 85 divided by 2 will give you this column. Okay, after that assume mean. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, quite easy, 97.5. Okay, मिडिल वन, जो मिडिल वाला होता है वही assume mean होता है, तो यहाँ पर आपका 97.5 आपका assume mean हो गया. So now subtracting 82.5 minus 97.5, this will give you 15. 87.5 minus 97.5, this will give you 10, and this is how it will work out. Okay, still the numbers are bigger. I like, suppose we don't know the table of 15 times 5, we don't want to do it, so we will find 85 minus 5 will be 5. So we will subtract, we will divide all of these numbers with 5. Okay, the class interval, we will divide it with by all the numbers by class interval, that is I. So 5 times 3, 5 times 2, 5 times 1, 1 2 3. Now the numbers are much smaller, so now you can multiply this T with F. 5 times 3 15. See how much smaller number you're getting in the end. And now all you need to do is divide this 16 by the total of frequency. You divided it total of frequency, but since you subtracted an assumed mean, so here assumed mean is added, and you divided with the class interval, that's why the multiplication sign is there. This time now you have to multiply, and 96 grams is your nearest mean. So guys, जिन जिन लोगों को वीडियो एकदम से आप अब बोर होने लग गए होगा वीडियो में, क्यों हो रहे हो बेटा? बिकॉज यू आर नॉट यूजिंग योर पेन एंड पेपर टू सॉल्व द क्वेश्चन फर्स्ट योर सेल्फ. You have to first solve the question yourself. In science videos it is not necessary. In science videos you might not have a pen and paper, still by seeing the video you can remember the concepts. But here it's quite important beta. It won't work out. You won't understand a thing unless you are practicing the question yourself and then coming back for the answers. So let us see question based on step deviation method. It was in previous slides as well, like in the previous session that we have covered. So 100 and 120, this will give you your x's like this. Okay, pause the video and try to solve the question yourself. And then what will be the beta? What will be the assumed mean? Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the middle number will be the assumed mean. Quite easy. 170. This is your assumed mean. Now we will go for the class frequency, like the class interval. So 20. So whatever numbers are coming here after the subtraction or from assumed mean, like let's take 170 minus 110, this will give you 60. 130 minus 170, this will give you a 40. So 20 will be divisible by all of them. So after dividing 60 with 20, you are getting 3. After dividing 40 with 20, you are getting 2. And minus sign why? Because this number came first. 110 minus 170. That's why the minus signs are here. Now multiplying this d part, like d equals to with 10. So fd you are getting 3 into 10 minus 30. You don't remember that. Just remember you need to multiply with it by frequency. So it will work out. So 30, 16, 4, and then adding all of them, you will get 39. Dividing them with the total of frequency, and you subtracted the assumed mean. So add the assumed mean, and you divided the class interval. So multiply the class interval. So if you understand all of these things, like if you work on your understanding, so in this chapter, none of the formulas are supposed to be learned. Only the first one is supposed to be learned. That is the mean one. After that is your understanding that why we are using it, why the hell we are using shortcut method and the step deviation method, because the x are bigger sometimes. So that's why first of all we try to subtract the assumed mean, make them smaller, then multiply it by frequency. Still sometimes they are bigger, so we move on to the division by class interval, and they are smaller, and finally we can multiply them to the frequency. So this is a case study, like a real life example, that how the things work out. Like for the central tendency, it is essential that for an astronaut the weight is measured as accurately as possible in order to calculate the fuel requirements. Because बेटा जब स्पेसशिप ऊपर जाता है ना, तो उसका फ्यूल रिक्वायरमेंट बहुत, उसके लिए एक सेटबैक हो सकता है अगर उन्हें ज़्यादा फ्यूल कैरी कर लिया तो. कम कैरी कर लिया तो भी दिक्कत हो जाएगी. और रॉकेट का जो वेट है वो उसको रिलीज कर पाएगा नहीं कर पाएगा, उसको एस्केप वेलोसिटी से आगे फेंक पाएगा नहीं फेंक पाएगा. तो जो साइंटिस्ट है उनका वेट मेजर किया जाता है. तो एल्बर्ट एक साइंटिस्ट है जिसने 7 days प्रायर से अपना वेट नापना स्टार्ट कर दिया. So he is getting 7 values, different days, different values, and now he wants to know that what is his weight, what he's supposed to give NASA. So he will find the mean of that, adding all the values, dividing by number of values, that is 7, and this will give you the answer. 87.25 is his weight. This is the weight he can give to NASA. So this is the application of the mean that we talked about today. Today was about grouped data. Yeah, and the previous class was about all the formulas and the ungrouped data. The previous class was much easier, had much easier questions from this class. Those of you who had not seen the previous video, I request you to go and see the previous videos. In the previous video, we talked about the ungrouped data. Like that was easier questions. And here we talked about grouped data. I hope I was of use to you. And this was the topic that we covered today: grouped data for direct method, for shortcut method, and for step deviation method. And guys, thank you all, and if you like the video, please press the like, and if you have not already subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel. Okay, this really will work out for you because you won't miss the future update from me and many other teachers that are producing the content on this video, like Swiflearn platform. And this is Jagrat signing out. Bye.